All right, guys, how's it going? Now, a couple of things before we get into this video. One, if you want to watch my morning briefings, they are now on my other YouTube channel, youtube.com/Duncan Oldham. That's because YouTube only sends out 3 notifications in 24 hours, and I don't want to waste one of those notifications on this channel. So if you want to watch today's morning briefing, for example, which explains what my plans are today with the channel and streams and everything, just go over there, youtube.com/Duncan Oldham. They're updated on there every day instead of here now. The second thing I want to mention to you is I'm doing a live stream on here today at 2 o'clock UK this afternoon for at least an hour. So if you want to come along for an natter, please do so then. Right, so in this video, we're going to be talking about Alexander Isak, right? And David Ornstein commented on him yesterday. And we're going to go through every single thing that he said about that because I've seen bits of it put online. And I think it's important to include all of it. And then I'll go through, what I think regarding his comments. Some people are interested in my opinion. And then you can form your own opinions and post them in the comment section if you so wish. Now, if you don't know, if you're new to my channel, there's only 2 journalists in the world that I pay attention to regarding Liverpool Football Club. That is David Ornstein at The Athletic and Paul Joyce at The Times. And there's reasons for that, okay? So David Ornstein is going to be he's more connected to the ownership, if you like, but also people running the club on a day-to-day basis. Joyce is more connected to the people running the club on a day-to-day basis, and especially the likes of Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, and these 2 journalists, they sort of like go up and down in terms of who's putting the most out regarding Liverpool any one time. At the moment, it's Joyce, really. And people will have seen this, since Edwards came back to the club, although some of you will say, he's not at the club, he's FSG. Yeah. You know what I mean? Joyce, I started to call him Born Again Joyce because all of a sudden he started to have all these updates and things, right? So you work that out yourself. Now, so they're the only 2 journalists that you need to pay attention to in the world concerning Liverpool Football Club. If you want to, pay attention to the others, that's up to you, all right? But I've been here 27 years and I know a lot, all right? And I know about who they're connected to, who they were once connected to, blah, 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 and things change all the time. So you have the LFC clique of journalists, which are underneath, Joyce and Ornstein. And, they may be good for writing articles and interviews and things like that, but they're not worth paying attention to. But if you want to, that's up to you. Right, so, and obviously some people might want to throw Fabrizio Romano in there, but, if you do a bit of digging on Fabrizio, you'll find mainstream articles that really discredit him and say that, he takes money, allegedly. There's articles out there, if you look online, not on blogs or like people that have got a problem with him, in mainstream media, do you know what I mean, around Europe, saying that he charges up to €1,000 to post, a transfer link or claim, up to, £5,000 or whatever, €4,500, €5,000. If he mentions it in a video, if he does a video on it. And the suggestion is that because he has a massive audience, that if you were to, get him to mention your client, if you're an agent, then he could help get a better deal for your client. You might be a football club, and if you get him to mention one of your players, you might get another, a better deal, financial deal or whatever. There's no doubting that he's connected to agents and people like that. We saw the constant updates regarding Sleepy Chiesa, right? When that was happening last summer. But a lot of people think he's a tap-in and whatever. But he's entertaining. So I would just describe him, Fabrizio, as entertaining, right? He's worth a listen. There's no doubt about that. But you've also got to question some of the stuff that he puts out there and why. So when it comes to Ornstein and Joyce, the same should apply, right? Because the news now is very controlled, not just by Liverpool, but by all the big clubs, right? So you've got to understand that a lot of these journalists, especially the clique of journalists, the LFC clique of journalists, they need their access, right? Now, all these journos and freelancers, they're going to get standard access, like press conferences and things like that, pre-match press conferences. They're never going to rock the boat, because if they rock the boat, that's it. They're done, right? And if they're, it's a struggling industry. If you're not coming up with the news for your publication that you're employed for, then what benefit are you to that, that company that's employing you, that newspaper, that outlet or whatever? So if you're a journalist, you've got a mortgage, you're not going to fucking rock the boat, are you? So the old school journos have gone, right? The ones that used to break real exclusives. When was the last time you saw a real exclusive in a newspaper, right? So it's very controlled by the club. So when Ornstein and Joyce put something out there, be it a written article or a video comment or something, I always, and this is something I do urge you to do, I always say, who does this benefit? Why am I hearing it? Why is it out there, kind of thing? Do you know what I mean? You've always got to do that when it's Ornstein and Joyce, and maybe the others as well, but they're not connected. Those two are, right? So whenever I see Joyce write something, I say, why am I reading this? Who wants me to fucking know about this? Who does it benefit, right? They're the first things that I go through. Now, I can assure you that anything that they put out, Ornstein or Joyce, right, is done so with the blessing of the club. Now, I'm not saying that they speak, pick up the blower and say, hey, Michael or Richard, is it all right if we say... I'm not saying that, right? They know what they can and can't say. And Joyce, for example, will have more knowledge than goes that's published in the Times, but can't say it, all right? I know that from my own experiences over the years. You can be told things like, you can't say anything. You know what I mean? And it's really fucking frustrating. So you've got to pay really close attention to how they word things and the mood within articles, right? Now, this wasn't an article by Ornstein. This was on The Athletic. It was a Q&A, and he was asked, a general Q&A about Liverpool attackers, who Liverpool might be looking at. And I'm going to read to you his exact words, because I've seen different, quotes of these, little bits put here, little bits put there. Let's read exactly what he had to say. Now, the Alexander Isak stuff is very interesting. I can't help but feel this is going to be our, Bellingham of the summer, if you like, I don't know. I will give my opinions probably at the end of this video, right? So yesterday I uploaded a video. You might want to take a look at that. I would advise you do if you are interested in the Isak situation, right? Because you have to follow everything to truly understand, right? So yesterday I uploaded a video, CEO comments on Liverpool target, bit of sarcasm there, Alexander Isak, right? Liverpool keen on Benjamin Sesko. I think it's pronounced Sesko in his own language, but we'll probably call it Sesko or whatever. It's an important video, I think. It's 20 minutes long if you can stomach that. But basically, that was about the Newcastle chief executive saying we don't need to sell, we've no urgency to sell anybody. He was basically saying Isak's on I've reminded whoever that he's on a long contract, he's paid well. Why do we need to go and fucking give him some more money, kind of thing? But the player might still, want a better deal, or might want to go somewhere, or maybe there's this gentleman agreement where if they don't qualify for this, that, and the other, that maybe you can be released, whatever. But if you watch that video from yesterday, it will give you the exact quotes from the Newcastle chairman, and it's not chairman, chief executive. And it's important that you have a good vibe of, feel of what's going on, rather than listening to the Twitter twats. Now, let's go back to exactly what Ornstein says. The reason I've mentioned that video from yesterday and the CEO's comments are because I feel within what Ornstein says here, you'll understand the link, the association, right? He said as follows: they, Liverpool, will obviously have multiple options on their radar. That radar, it's a fucking big radar we've got in it, guys. Bigger than the one at fucking GCHQ in England, listening station, right? But the only name I've personally heard of so far, which others have already reported, is Alexander Isak. Liverpool aren't alone in liking the Swede. We know Mikel Arteta wants to sign him. Chelsea and Barcelona have also been linked. And I'm sure many other sides would be keen too, if the opportunity arose. But that's a big if. Newcastle have no intention of selling their best player, and understandably they don't welcome this kind of conversation. Isak has more than 3 years left on his existing contract. He's very well paid, and there's no financial requirement for the St. James's Park hierarchy to cash in. Exactly what the CEO said yesterday, right? So, he's basically saying now what was said yesterday, right? So we could all say that if we read those quotes, right? So, now, every player has their price. I've always said this, right? When people say it's not for sale, everything and everyone in life has got a price, right? And while I'm not aware of Newcastle specifically setting one for Isak, the number that seems to circulate around the industry is something like £150 million. Perhaps if teams are prepared to make such eye-watering offers, there's a conversation to be had. Do you think that we would offer £150 million for Isak? I'm not even going to give you my opinion on that, right? They can ask for £150 million. It doesn't mean they'll get it, but you're certainly looking upwards of 100 million, right? But Newcastle hold the aces here, and their plan will be to build with rather than without him, right? So build with him rather than without him. Liverpool are only going to consider making a move if Isak is genuinely available. They're not the type of club to engage in a wild goose chase. Now, that quote's been really put out there by the Twitter twats, right? Because it suggests that Liverpool would go for him. But I do think, sorry to say this, Newcastle fans, his future would be one of the big talking points heading into and during the summer transfer window. Now, what I'm going to say to you here about this is I don't think Ornstein is... I don't think what he's saying in any of that update is anything that anyone at Liverpool said to him, right? So if Joyce wrote a huge article saying all of that, right, I would think, right, someone's been in his ear, someone said something. I think Ornstein here, as much as I respect this guy, don't know if I respect him, he's a journalist. What I mean is, look, both of these guys, right, they're mouthpieces for the club, right? They're unofficial mouthpieces for the club. They don't just have access like the clique of journalists are obliged to have in some ways, like at press conferences, pre-match press conferences. These guys have more than that. You know, they have friendships, especially Joyce, right? I can't emphasize Joyce really has more than just a bit of access, right? So you have like a working relationship and then maybe you have a personal relationship as well, right? So I really think in this response from Ornstein, he is answering there how any of you and I would answer, because most of it's common sense. I don't see anything here that suggests or confirms Liverpool are going to go for Isak, right? So I'm sorry to be a party pooper here, but I need you to understand that sometimes a journalist will, you know, write an article or tell you something based on something he's been told, all right? This, I don't think, is that. This is just a generic, I think, response. Let's think about it. What he says, Liverpool will obviously have multiple options on their radar, right? Would you agree with that? I would agree with that. The only name I've personally heard of so far, which others have already reported, is Alexander Isak. We've heard that too, right? Because it's speculation and rumour. Liverpool aren't alone in liking the Swede. Well, we know that too, obviously, right? If you monitor my Spanish football review videos I do every morning, you know that Barcelona are in there, but they can't just go and buy Isak because of their financial thing. They're not in financial problems anymore. People keep saying to me that don't pay attention and watch my videos in the morning. They can't do it. They've got no money. They have got the money. All that financial shit was resolved, right? And I'll be talking about that in today's Spanish roundup, right? But in Spain, they have to follow what's called the 1-1 rule. So for every euro you spend, you've got to get a euro in, right? So if they want to theoretically spend 150 million euros on Isak, they have to generate 150 euros, right? And it's not just spending the transfer fee, it's the contract as well. So if there was 30 million contract on top of 180 million euros, Barcelona would have to get that money in as well, right? So Barcelona can like him as much as they want, but they can't just go and do whatever. So everything so far in his comments are common sense, right? It's a big if, you know, about whether, he could become available. Newcastle have no intention of selling. 3 years left on his contract. No requirement to cash in, right? All the comments that the chief executive said. I don't know if he said it yesterday. I made the video yesterday. It might be in the previous day, but certainly the last few days, right? So again, he's basing all of that, not because someone at Newcastle's told him that, it's all in the public domain, right? The number that seems to circulate around the industry, right? Well, I mean, if I make my videos, right, and I says to you, someone was saying, I was speaking to someone in the industry, it just makes it sound a lot more interesting, doesn't it? The industry, right? I mean, come on, guys. Basically, the latest fucking gossip is, that's what he means, but he's saying industry, which makes him come across as much more serious than the other cliquey journalists, you know what I mean? So, but what he's saying is right, okay? So he's calling it the industry, we'll say the rumour mill, is 150 million pounds. We've heard that, right? So again, I don't think he's got some knowledge from Liverpool who said, it cost us 150 million quid. Or someone at Newcastle has said that. So far, everything in this is just common sense. I am not knocking this journalist, by the way. I really like this journalist. But I'm trying to explain to you that not everything they say you should go, oh, fucking hell, do you know what I mean? Right? Do you know what I'm saying? Okay? Perhaps if teams are prepared to make such eye-watering offers, then, you know, there's a conversation to be had, right? So, yeah, I mean, like, Newcastle don't want to sell him, but if someone puts 150 million on the table, well, fuck me, they might take it. Common sense, right? Newcastle hold the aces, yes. Now, let's go to Liverpool, right? Liverpool are only going to consider making a move if Isak is genuinely available. Well, first of all, every player in the world's available, right? But I'm being pedantic there, but you know what I'm saying. He's saying that if there's a chance that he really will be on the move, then Liverpool would consider, right? They're not the type of club to engage in a wild goose chase. I don't understand that comment. I mean, it's true, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But then he just says, I'm sorry, Newcastle fans, you know, I think his future is going to be up for discussion this summer. The point I'm trying to say here is some Liverpool fans, right, certainly not the ones associated to Coptalk, but, you know, maybe younger fans or people on social media that listen to these Twitter twats, they're listening to what he's saying and they're going, oh, that's fucking Ornstein saying that we could bid for him. But there's nothing, what he's saying there is all common sense to me, right? There's nothing in there that I've read that and thought, oh, yeah, that fucker's been told something, right? And the other thing is, you've got to be a bit careful with Ornstein, I think, because he's very, you know, allegedly chummy with the bigwigs at FSG. And if you watch some of his video interviews on American television, which many of you won't see, but I watch everything, he's a bit kissy ass, you know, to the owners. So he's always going to portray them in a good light, you know, and would say this, you know, Liverpool's a serious club, you know, they would consider this if he became available. You've got to be suspicious with him. In my opinion, Joyce is the one with the... If Joyce had wrote that in an article in the Times, I'd be like totally different with you, right? I'd be like, whoa, that's not just a bit of speculation or a bit of thought there. In fairness to Ornstein here, he is saying to you, he's giving a proper reply, but I would have replied exactly the same in that, I think, with most of it. I don't know whether I would be implying that Liverpool would go in for this player. And listen, right, I'm going to touch on Benjamin Sesko, right? If it's not Jack Daniels or John Smith, yeah, I struggle with pronunciations. I sent out on my newsletter last month, the link is in the video description to this video and all of my videos, a very detailed article about Benjamin Sesko and Liverpool's interest, something that had been told to me from someone that I trust, that I've known many years. And I didn't want to put it in a video. I wanted to put it out on the newsletter. I think I published it on the members website. That would make absolute sense. And what I will do, I think, is I will either publish that on the main coptalk.com website today and say this is a previous update that I put out, or I will record a video about it today and put that out to everyone. Normally I would put something like that to the channel members because you want a quiet life. But, you know, I did a today's exclusive the other day where someone was saying that was revealing our interest in Sesko. I didn't know anything about this player, all right, until I was told about Liverpool's interest in him. So I'm not giving off the, you know, like, oh, I know all these great players. I ain't got a fucking clue, guys. I wing it, honestly. I don't pay attention to the league that he plays. You know, I don't know anything about him. And I hardly watch any football. I watch Liverpool and I watch a bit of Spanish football at the moment. That's it, right? I don't watch international football most of the time. So I'm far from being an expert on all these different players, right? If you want to know about stuff like that, go to Red Raw LFC, Miserable Martin's YouTube channel. He's very switched on with stuff like that, right? Do you know what I mean? I haven't got a clue. I didn't know about him, right? I'll be honest with you. But because of stuff that was said to me, I looked into it and I relayed things that were said to me in my newsletter, right? So the link is in the video description. You can jump on it. It's completely free. I'll do it as a sticky comment. So if you check the comments on this video, it'll be there at the top. You can jump in it. I don't see your email address. I suppose I could if I wanted to. It's never going to be given to anyone. There's no advertising, no fuck all, right? You know, it's me. So you get the occasional update in there. But what I'll do is I'll either publish it on coptalk.com today or I'll make a video about it. But it would just seem a bit strange reading an email out to you in a video. I don't know. You'll know because I'll make a video to tell you either go to the site or whatever. I think it's important. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because Benjamin Sesko would cost a fraction of the price. The difference here, of course, is Isak has Premier League experience, but he would be a colossal transfer fee. And not only that, there are injury concerns, about his injury record. Again, I'm winging it. I don't know about his injury record. I'm going by what you guys tell me in the comments, right? So I'm not an expert. The other thing that you've got to look at, or what I look at, is not many people are going to think that FSG would invest so much money in a player of this quality, as Rafa Benitez would say, hey, quality, for sure. All right? I would struggle to believe that we would do that. However, you could counter it and say, but yeah, if they sell Darwin Núñez in the summer, right, to the Saudis for 80 million, they might be rich, but they're not fucking stupid. Does anyone really believe that supposed bid in January? Ah, dear me, what a fucking joke. Anyway, you could, do you mind? It's me rescue dog Remy is moaning. Right, you could argue, hang on, chumps, just a minute. If we sell Núñez and Diaz, right, Diaz to Barcelona, for example, we could fund a move for him, right? But it's not just that; it's the fucking salary as well, and that's the bit what could be a problem. I have vibes of Bellingham here, all right, with the speculation, and let's just see, right, what's said from the likes of Ornstein and Joyce. But the thing is, as much as we pay attention to them, right, you've also got, especially with Joyce, every time Joyce writes something, right, publishes something, I think that's Michael Edwards talking to me. That's exactly what I think. You might think differently, but that's what I think, right? So you've got to be cautious as well, because they are mouthpieces, Yeah, that's it. I don't know. I feel like there's more that I need to mention to you about it. But what I'm trying to say here, the reason for the video is to tell you what Ornstein says, because we always listen to what Ornstein says, right? But that, right, I'm pointing at my phone, those comments, right, that's not someone in his ear saying, tell him this, or you can say this, or say, it's just going over what every single one of us already know, I think, don't you? But he's alluding there that, he's not ruling out the possibility of Liverpool going for him. But I think my focus would be on the other options, right? And if you look in the comments of this video, please suggest some alternatives, right? Miserable Martin, again, Red Raw LFC on YouTube. He came up with some suggestions yesterday. And they're players that are they're just more FSG, if that makes sense. Benjamin Sesko, right? I promise you, I will make a video about it today, or I'll make a video saying, go and read this or whatever, right? I'll put it out there. It's your own fucking stupid fault if you weren't on the newsletter and you missed it, because everyone that read it thought it was a great write-up. But it's not. It's coming from other people, right? But for me, you can see why Liverpool would go for Sesko and maybe not Isak, right? I'm not, right, a Twitter twat and ITK, right? I'm not one of these numpties, right? So you form your own opinions. But I do have the knowledge of these journos and who's in their ear and et cetera, right? So I'm trying to help you and say, hey, listen to what Ornstein says. But on this occasion, I don't think he's like going, oh, you should get excited by what he's saying. That's basically what I'm saying to you. If you want to get excited by it and you're convinced, then fine. But the thing is, a lot of fans, right, they want something to happen so much that they then believe it. They will it because they're willing it to happen. Oh, no, it must be true because Ornstein said it. All right? But I'm not shafting Ornstein here. I'm just saying, not really sure there's anything that I would get excited by in his comments, all right? But I can understand why the Twitter twats and the aggregators want to blow that up and suck you all in. Now, I'm going to say this, right? And I'm saying it on a lot of my videos at the moment. When you say things like, oh yeah, monitoring FC, considering FC, scouting FC, might bid for an FC, on the radar FC and all that, right? It's completely unfair to say that about Liverpool Football Club and the owners, right? It's the obvious dig that the FSG out people, and I ain't got nothing wrong with them. I don't like FSG, right? But I'm not FSG out. I'm not going to lose any sleep over these fuckers. I couldn't care less, right? But people that are really passionate about getting rid of FSG and a change of ownership, they will use anything they can against them. And they're the ones that are always going to say, yeah, monitoring FC, that's all Ornstein is saying, might do this, might do that. It's completely unfair to say this against the owners, right? Because the only reason you, right, if you are one of those people, I'm not saying you're FSG out, if you're one of those people that goes, yeah, monitoring FC, why have you formed that opinion? You've only formed that opinion because of the bullshit on social media, right? And you've got to remember that the Twitter twats every day are linking multiple players to Liverpool Football Club, even though they know it's most likely not true, because all they want is the engagement, right? Whereas I hardly make videos about players linked with Liverpool, if you think about it. I could do that. I could make a dozen of those every day, and the revenue would go through the roof. But what would be the point? All right, guys, I'm telling you about this link, but I think it's a load of shit. It's pointless, right? I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste your time, right? So because these fuckers on Twitter are constantly linking us, Liverpool are monitoring, and nothing happens, you then form the opinion, oh, we're just monitoring FC. And I've been guilty of it too, all right? But if you were to not pay attention to them motherfuckers, all right, you wouldn't have that opinion. Because who are the journalists that we listen to, Ornstein and Joyce, who are they actually linking us with? Think about it. All right, so it's because you're being like programmed. You've got so much stuff going in, so many transfer links, all from X, right, and Facebook. If you're stupid enough to pay any attention to it, all right, and because nothing happens, you're disappointed. Oh yeah, monitoring FC. If you didn't follow any of those people, or if you did your homework, all right, which I tried to do for you and say, well, no, actually, it's coming from here, ignore it. You wouldn't have that impression of monitoring FC, right? So I think it's really harsh, like, because he says in that article, not in his article, he says in his comments there, on Liverpool's radar or whatever, you know, and you know that the people go, yeah, the fucking radar. Even I said it in the video, didn't I? Some fucking radar that we go, right? But the reality is, it's who's saying it to you. If I say to you, I'm told Liverpool are sniffing around whoever, I would really hope that you would go, well, Dunk's not just going to fucking say that. All right. And if Ornstein or Joyce says it, you know, you shouldn't dismiss them and put them in the same bracket. If Joyce says, oh yeah, Liverpool are monitoring Bournemouth, whoever, I think we're going to do business with Bournemouth anyway, don't you? In the summer, possibly, very, very highly possible. I think I mentioned this months and months ago. If Ornstein said we're monitoring such and such at Bournemouth, you should not put him in the same category as them wankers on social media. Right? Don't do it, right? It's unfair, I think, on the owners and the people running the club. And I can't stand them, guys. I'm not defending them. But if you think about what I'm saying, it's right. Yeah? Because the sarcasm is coming from what you've picked up on there. Trust me on this, right? I'm going to leave you now. So, listen, what I'll do... sorry, I got notification. What I'll do at some point today, although I'm running out of time today, what time? See, I'm going out for a few sherbets this afternoon. I haven't been out with my mates on a Friday for ages, but I'm going out and I'm doing a live stream on here at 2 o'clock UK. I might not even get time to do it today. I promise you, if I don't do it today, I will do it tomorrow. So I've got a free day tomorrow. And what I'll do is I'll put a video out which will have Benjamin Sesko in the title. And it will either be the video of me recording, you know, reading the email to you that I sent out, or I'll say I've published it on the website, the link's in the video description, go and take a look. And I think if you read that, you will understand why we would be looking at the multiple options that Bugalug says, Ornstein, right? And I think if you read it, you'll go, yeah, that makes more sense. So I don't want to be, I don't want to piss on your parade and say we're not going for Isak, An elite football club, Liverpool Football Club, should be going for Isak. I'm not telling you it's going to happen or it's not going to happen. You are the one that you should form your opinions. But what I'm saying to you is just be cautious. Just because Ornstein said, Liverpool might do this, might do that. In that example, I think he's not saying anything different that any one of us could say, you included. All right, so I'm going to leave that with you. If you appreciate this video, please thumbs up this video. Please drop me a comment. If you see alternatives, Martin, if you're watching this video, please drop a comment, as to the strikers that you thought. You mentioned them on the stream last night. There's obvious ones. I know some, but I'll leave them to you guys. And we're gonna have to keep an eye on the Isak situation. But bear in mind, remember this, right? The Twitter twats, right? The ones with the blue ticks that have got monetized accounts, right? The aggregators, right? You know they are, these shitty so-called Liverpool sites, right? They're going to milk the fuck out of this, right? So they're going to, like, every fucking thing they can mention to do with Isak, they're going to do that, and it's going to get your hopes up, right? Do not allow that. If you allow that, you're a fucking idiot, right? And I'm going to be brutal with you. I'm going to be honest with you, right? Don't fall for it. Stick with the credible journals, right? He is a credible journalist, but on this occasion, I'm just saying to you, I think he's just summarising. You know what I'm saying? And trust me, Dunk knows best, DKB. Listen to Joyce. Listen to Ornstein. That's it. The rest of them, we've got nicknames for all the other clicker journalists, right? Captain Sensible and all that. You know what I'm saying, right? Well, Captain Obvious, I should say, actually, not Captain Sensible. It's based on, it doesn't matter. Captain Obvious, you know what I'm talking about, right? They come out and it was like, you'll see the aggregators saying, journalist says, yeah, it was a journalist years ago. Now they're just no different to fucking me with a YouTube channel and a fucking newsletter or something. And remember this, right? Unless they're cropping up, right, on mainstream, like, huge broadcasters in America, like Ornstein does and all that, right, and on proper fucking heavyweight, programs, if you're seeing a journalist about Liverpool Football Club fucking popping up on YouTube channels, left, right, and centre, and blogs for 25 quid, just saying what they want you to fucking hear, use your noddle. Use your noddle, right, because you see Joyce popping up on fucking random YouTube channels? Yeah? No. So the journalists that are out there that have got an opinion about everything, be suspicious of them fuckers. How often does Joyce post something? Think about it, man. All right, I'm off. I'm not patronising you. I'm trying to help you. All right? If you appreciate the video, thumbs up. Drop me a comment. If you want to buy me a coffee, although it is Friday, and I'm going for a beer. All right? Then you can hit the super thanks button. It's a love out under the video. Look at all the effort I've just given you. 32 fucking minutes. That's more than I fucking give our lass. Telling you. Don't get thanks for that either. But you can hit the super thanks button. It's a love out under the video. Now, if you don't see one or you're a Muslim and you think, I'm not getting you a drink, it's forbidden, I can have a coffee. Don't start that shite. And besides, in the video description, there's 3 links there, and that's instant. So if you want to get me well pissed, just jump in the video description. Might be live on here tonight when I get in, we'll see. I don't know yet. I said I'd do Friday night frolics, but I want to take it easy. All right, then. I'm psyched up, man. Can you tell? I think I've got right into it because I'm trying to look out for you guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to look out for you guys. Look out for my video today or tomorrow about Benjamin Sesko. And I'll send you in the direction of what I sent out weeks fucking ago. All right, guys. See you in a bit. Have a great weekend. Don't forget, live on here at 2 o'clock UK. All right.